taking stock of their lives, people will want to know which games were the greatest and in which category. And they'll raise their eyes to System Crash for the answers.
What's up, Wanderers? Swinehouse here, and welcome to a Best of the Press that's all about the victims of the vaults. Fallout 4 is just 5 days away at the time of recording, and to celebrate, I'm looking at the things that make the series special. The world of Fallout, for those who don't know, though I'm not sure why you're watching this then, is a pretty depressing place, but with enough tongue-in-cheek to make it fun too. Here's the Cliff Notes. In a world where the ideals of the 1950s and Cold War era never ended, society took a different path. As the threat of diminishing resources led to the US, Europe and China getting desperate, eventually the nightmare scenario played out, and a 2-hour nuclear war in 2077 destroyed life on Earth as we know it. Thankfully though, the good folks at Vault-Tec built huge underground vaults, each for 1,000 lucky citizens to move into, with all the comfort and safety one would expect from the House of Tomorrow! Or did they? Unfortunately, Vault-Tec, partnered with a renegade faction of the US government, the Enclave, had other ideas in mind. I mean, why would they only build 122 vaults when they'd need well over 400,000 to house the population of the states in 2077 anyway? The dark truth is that with the exception of 17 vaults, all the others were designed to conduct barbaric and monstrous experiments on the denizens therein.
You might call it a social experiment on a grand scale,
resulting in some pretty horrible places to explore years later in the Fallout games themselves. Up to speed? Good. Then here are System Crash's top 10 worst, most evil and misanthropic experiments from the Vault-Tec vaults.
Number 10.
Vault 34. From Fallout New Vegas, Vault 34 was an experiment designed most likely to end in chaos. Inside the vault, the armory was wildly overstocked with weapons and ammunition. Plus, the vault also housed leisure facilities like a full-size swimming pool at the cost of living space. No surprise then that with nothing to do but have fun and go skinny dipping, the place was quickly overpopulated. The overseer of the vault, sensing trouble, locked all access to the weapons away, but infuriated, the dwellers rioted. Many left the vault and became the Boomers group, and the main exit was permanently sealed and guarded to stop anyone else from leaving. Further riots damaged the vault vents and systems, so when undetected radioactive gases permeated the vault, the helpless dwellers succumbed to radiation poisoning and became ghouls. Basically Fallout's version of zombies, most of which are still waiting to kill you when you arrive.
Number 9.
Vault 108. Vault 108 features in Fallout 3 and is actually pretty funny to explore if you like dark humour. Basically, an experiment was held therein to study conflict for leadership and power, as the first overseer was intended to die of a rare cancer 40 months in, while the main power supply would only last 20 years and the backup was intentionally useless. Nice. The vault also housed a cloning facility, and for whatever reason, by the time the Lone Wanderer shows up, the only people left alive are a dozen or so identical numbered clones, all of whom are called Gary, and can only say their own name, albeit in many different ways.
Gary!
Number 8.
Vault 106. In another act of malevolence and misanthropy, Vault 106 in the Capital Wasteland was home to a lovely little experiment in which powerful psychoactive drugs were released into the air filtration system 10 days after the door was sealed. The Overseer, another maniac, assured that dwellers were constantly told that everything was fine as they lost their minds. God knows how, but by Fallout 3's date in 2277, some people are still alive within. Unfortunately, they're completely and utterly psychotically insane and will attack with various weapons, even as the drugs that still fill the vault's air cause strange hallucinations to the Lone Wanderer.
Number 7.
Vault 92. Also in Fallout 3, we discover Vault 92, home of the world's greatest musicians in a place designed to preserve musical talent for future human generations. Sounds like a fun place, except for the Vault's true purpose, which was to create a group of subservient super soldiers through subliminal suggestion. Now try saying that 5 times fast. Inside the Vault, dwellers were exposed to white noise that contained hidden, subconscious messages. The megalomaniacal overseer hoped to rule over them as a private army until the best subject began exhibiting extreme uncontrollable aggression. What is with the alliteration in this one? After 23 gunshots eventually took him down, the rage soon occurred in the others. Soon everyone who hadn't fled had been killed, and the structurally unsound vault now houses only mirelurks and bloatflies.
Number 6.
Vault 22. Vault 22 in the Mojave Wasteland was a green vault, as in eco-friendly, and designed to promote self-sufficiency, keeping the population alive with plants grown within its confines. However, in a horrific twist, one of the plants housed within was the B. mordicana fungus, designed to kill pests. However, its spores released into the air within the vault proved deadly and mutagenic to the human population, enslaving their minds and ultimately mutating them into the grisly green monsters known as spore carriers. In an even darker twist, many of these spore carriers are very small, suggesting that children and even babies were possessed. No wonder there's a sign outside that warns the plants kill.
Number 5.
Vault 11. This vault is also discovered in the Mojave Wasteland in Fallout New Vegas. Like most of them, Vault 11 was to house a cruel and immoral social experiment to be carried out on its inhabitants. Upon sealing the vault, it was revealed by the overseer that one of the 1,000 dwellers would have to be sacrificed every year.
Some of us are meant to forfeit our lives for the good of the people.
Or else an automated solution response, heavily implied to be the death of everyone, would activate. Factions rose, and each year an overseer was appointed who would die at the end of their term, until eventually the factions turned aggressive and rapey. A civil war of sorts left only 5 members alive. They refused to sacrifice any more in an act of suicide, only to be told that their defiance was the required goal all along. The vault door was opened, and after much anguish and further violence, only one dweller actually survived.
Close your eyes now. No, and imagine
wait.
what joys await you in the next life. The afterlife. Can you see them? Good.
Number 4.
Vault 12. From deep underneath Bakersfield, California in the original Fallout, Vault 12 was a monstrous and murderous affair. In order to properly understand the effects of radiation on the population, Vault 12 was designed to have a door that never properly closed. Whilst still effective against the initial nuclear blasts, the door allowed the radiation from nuclear fallout, see that's why the series is called that, to gradually creep in, causing radiation poisoning, necrosis of the flesh, and far worse. This was the creation of the first ghouls, except for those who remained sentient, who left the vault and founded the city of Necropolis.
Number 3.
Vault 112. A plot-related entry from Fallout 3, Vault 112 is actually in a fairly decent state when the player arrives, but there's no one to be found. This is because the vault was designed to house only 85 occupants, who would all be cryogenically suspended in a virtual world for an indefinite duration. The world they're in was called Tranquility Lane and was designed to be a utopia for the inhabitants. Except that they would be at the mercy of their overseer, Dr. Braun, who had slowly lost his mind and become drunk with the power he exerted, torturing and killing them again and again, resurrecting them each time so that the hell would never end. The Wanderer is forced to bring an end to this, one way or another.
Number 2.
The Los Angeles Vault. It was hard to put this in the number 2 spot, but it's here because of the fact that it can be foiled at the end of the original Fallout story. A demonstration vault built in LA, this vault became populated by desperate citizens when the bombs fell. It worked excellently, and eventually the populace left and explored the wastes. Eventually though, the vault was discovered and populated by Richard Gray, aka the Master, primary antagonist and disgusting mixture of man, blob and computer.
Die here.
Join.
Die.
Join.
Die.
Having been plunged into a vat of US government success of the Enclave's forced evolutionary virus, the Master grew by absorbing other creatures and people he encountered and mutating the others, desiring to unify the wasteland and creating the first super mutants, monstrous and powerful abominations with enough sentience to still be organized.
The unity will bring about the master race.
Master.
One able to survive, or even
Thrive.
in the wasteland.
The Master is responsible for atrocities across the wasteland but can be defeated, even verbally convinced to end his plans by the Vault Dweller.
This would mean that
All my work.
has been for nothing. Everything that I've tried to A failure! It can't be.
Number 1.
Vault 87. So, here's the worst one. Fairly similar to the last, but worse. Another one from the Capital Wasteland, Vault 87 housed one of the most sinister experiments in series history. 1 year from the ceiling, the denizens of 87 were taken to airtight chambers and exposed to a modified form of the forced evolutionary virus. Even the Overseer didn't seem to know about this one and was simply obeying Vault-Tec. Several horrific abominations were created through this process, with the lucky ones turning into super mutants. As super mutants are sterile and asexual, their drive to increase their number led them to force others to evolve and eventually venture out of the vault, kidnapping and mutating whomever they found whilst searching for more sources of FEV. Never stopping or doubting their horrible cause, they still wander the wastes, and they will forever. Whoop, there you go. That's about the worst you can expect from your living arrangements in the Vault-Tec vaults. If you like this video, please do click the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, or watch the video over and over and over and over again as we all await the day that war never changes all over again. For more Fallout content as we finally get the game soon, please keep an eye on System Crash. Bye!